Know your body.
You said preseason, does that mean you felt maybe it wasn't a good preseason game?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess I'm not really the judge. It's just football, in my opinion. But hey,
Did they take you through some concussion protocols too as well?
no, they asked me a couple questions, but I know what today is. I know what happened yesterday, and I know who we played last week. So I think I'm all right.
Will you be ready for Dallas?
Prefer possibly not to play. Third preseason. Obviously, all the stars typically sit out the field, but would you want to sit out?
It's up to coach and the training staff, and just see what we do.
Welcome back. A little excerpt of Odell Beckham, man, suffered, I think it was a collision he suffered, got checked out for the concussion protocol, passed through it, seemed to be fine. So hopefully my homie Odell, OBJ, will be all right. Odell, if you have any issues, man, you think, hit me up, talk about it. It's all good. Emails, hit me up. It's all good. So let's go ahead, man, and chop it up. We've got a fairly decent slate of games on deck for today. First thing we're going to do, let's go check out the old Twitter poll, because every day I like to throw out my Twitter poll where I kind of gauge the temperature of the room, see what is going on around the league. Of course, in terms of what teams people are thinking about stacking the most. And I threw 4 teams on here, and I left one off that I kind of liked. But we're going to go through it because, as you can see, the Baltimore Orioles here were easily the chalk stack on the slate. Everybody liked the Orioles. They kind of didn't disappoint. If you had an Orioles stack without Adam Jones, I feel so sorry for you, because the dude went ape shit, scored 36 points. You had the Los Angeles Dodgers were also a decent squad. We saw Kurt the Grandy man get that grand slam, so that was pretty nice there. Texas Rangers surprised a lot of us. A lot of us just weren't on the Rangers, and you looked at Tyler Skaggs in a lot of tournaments. Dude was like 30, 40, 50, 60% owned in some spots. Like I believe in cash, the dude was like 60-something% owned in cash, and just didn't have a great one. The Boston Red Sox came in last in this graphic. They put up 4 runs today in a losing effort. Benintendi did most of the damage, hit a big 2-run jack early in the game, and kind of sent Clevenger reeling for the entirety of that game. So we didn't see a good game from him. Pitching was just very suspect today. Pitching was very suspect. Alex Wood got hit up. We saw the Pittsburgh Pirates really go after him early in that game. It just was not a great one in terms of pitching. The bats were fairly predictable. We did get a lot of the bats right. A few of them slipped by us. I know the homie Paul Harless Jr. put us onto the Seattle Mariners, so that he really loved them. And I had a lot of exposure to Yonder Alonso. Actually, I went 5 for that. Yeah, Benintendi and Jones were the plays. Benintendi, Jones. You had some Yonder Alonso. You did well. Like, those were the plays, bro. It was really good ones. So, as I said, we do have a very solid slate of games in tow for tomorrow, for today actually. 15 games are going to be on the all day, but we don't worry about the all day shit. We play the main joints. We've got 14 in the main. So let's go ahead and jump right into those, man, because we don't have a lot of time. We want to get this stuff rolling, kind of get our pitching down. That's why you come to the first class. The reason why you come to the first class is because I'm not going to bullshit you and tell you all the plays I think you should play as far as batters go. We can get an overall view of what we want to do in terms of our batter stacks. But when it comes to individual batter plays, we're not even going to chop that up until we get the actual orders, until we get the actual batting orders. Quick question from Kevin O'Hearn says, can we bury the Diamondbacks on the road? And you know what? That's the toughest thing to do, bro. Yo, the toughest thing to do in MLB is to have a short memory, because there's so many games. And it's a game of streaks and slumps, just like every sport, streaks and slumps. The good teams have the longer streaks. The bad teams have the shorter, the longer slumps. And they're just so hard to figure out on the road. They will go 4 or 5 games on the road, horrible, and then you don't play them. You don't want to play them, and the next thing you know is they go ham on the road. So it's very tough to gauge a team like that. But that's why we keep continuing to play, man. Now the way this slate breaks down, we've got a ton of games. We got 14 games. 12 of those games, the first pitch is going to be out by 8:15, so that's fairly solid. The only two spots you have to worry about are the same two we had last night. We've got the Rangers and the Angels, and then we've got the Milwaukee Brewers and the San Francisco Giants. Those are the only games that are going to be played after 10. So we should have the complete lineup for about 12 other games. So we can. The one thing we already know is, just like you saw the Texas Rangers stack is not going to be very highly owned. Last night it wasn't very highly owned. It's not going to be very highly owned tonight, just because we're not going to know the exact batting orders. People are going to be scared to play those cats from those games. So I want you to be on the lookout for that. Keep that in mind when you talk about the Rangers and the Angels and the Milwaukee Brewers and the San Francisco Giants here. Okay, now let's go ahead, jump into a game by game. What we're doing is we want to look for the pitching here. We got Oakland and Baltimore, the first game on the slate. There is a 3% chance of light rain here. Should not be a problem. We do have 13 miles per hour wind going out toward left field in Oriole Park at Camden Yards. And when we have wind in a park like this, where the park factor shifts so much in the realm of hitters, you've got to take some consideration to all of the bats here. Now, I was really on Ryan Healy today. He was yesterday's cheap jack and did not hit one. Do I want to go back to the well? Probably not, but I definitely think some of the Oakland bats here are going to be in play for me. Let's take a look at what Oakland does on the road versus right-handed pitching. That's going to give us a really good look at what we can expect against Ubaldo Jimenez. And what I do is I set this, and I like to go roughly 30 days from the date that we're talking about. And what I would do, I would set it for as far as the splits go, I would set it for the road splits. So we're gonna go on the road versus right-handed pitching, and we're gonna update that and see exactly what it comes up with, or where we find the Oakland A's at on the road versus right-handed pitching. Okay, 20th in the league in ISO 157. The 321 WOBA is pretty decent, but that 23.1% K rate is kind of concerning. Don't know how I feel about that. We might want to take a look at what the Baltimore Orioles do at the crib versus right-handed pitching. That's going to give us a pretty solid view on what we can expect from them going forward in this matchup. So let's take a look here. Take that. And why I look at ISO, why ISO is so important is that's going to give us a look at how many extra base hits a team is hitting. And you know the Baltimore Orioles have been swinging it recently. You're going to have them as a heavy favorite again. When you factor in the wind being 13 miles per hour going out, you factor in the small state of that yard, the Camden Yards, you're going to look at this ISO is 234 with the 377 WOBA. That's pretty tough, pretty easy to get behind here. 17% K rate. Yo, against Paul Blackburn, you're going to 10.5 run total. All signs are pointing to take exception to some of those Baltimore bats. The problem is Ubaldo Jimenez just isn't cheap enough for me. Not a guy that I think I can use. I definitely don't want to have anything to do with Paul Blackburn here. So let's go ahead and move on to the next game. It is the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Pittsburgh Pirates. We got James Talley on 7.2, Brock Stewart at 5.3. Let's have a look at what the Dodgers do on the road versus right-handed pitching. That should help us out. I believe they've been fairly solid, actually. We'll be talking at 216 ISO, 310 WOBA with a 23.1% K rate. I kind of don't want to play right-handers, even though it's James Talley who's had some decent starts recently. I just don't want to play him against the Dodgers, man. Yo, the Dodgers can score, bro. 11, 23, 22. Did have a couple of tough games in a row. -8 against Cincinnati and -15 against San Fran. This dude can get hit up. This dude can get hit up. And for that reason, I don't like Talley there. Just don't like him in that spot. Plus, you factor in how they knocked around the homie yesterday. Knocked around Alex Wood yesterday. Tom Riley is a pivot pitcher? No. Talley yo, okay. The Dodgers are too good to have the opposing pitcher in a game be the pivot guy, because people are not going to play Talley against the Dodgers. They're just not. What it is, see, in order to get that pivot, to be the pivot pitcher, what we need you to suck in a ton of ownership. If you can suck in a bunch of ownership, and people like kind of embrace you as the chalk, like if that's what you're going to require, and we don't believe it, we think that we see a better way. we think that there's a couple of bats that can get to you, then that's what's going to give you what it's going to give us that's what's going to give us the nuts to be like, you know what, I'm going against this dude. He's going to be the pivot pitcher, right? And I just don't see that with well, I'm not going to test that order. I'm not. The Dodgers order, I'm not going to test that order. So that would take Talion off of the table for me as being a pivot pitcher on a set like this. As a matter of fact, I would roll against them, and I would play some of the Dodgers bats in the spot. I kind of like them. I think you can't like fade them at all. You know, I think at on every level, on some level, you've got to have some exposure to them cats, even without Cody Bellinger in the lineup. I mean, they're still that dangerous. So Brock Stewart at 5.3. We know we're going to get a really solid park shift here in terms of pitching. 8.65 his last 2 starts. Don't think that he's going to be usable for us here. Don't have any interest in him. Let's take a look at this here. Studio difficulties getting everything set up. Back. All right, so yeah, don't want to have any exposure to Brock Stewart here. You look at what the Pirates have been doing at home versus righties. It's not going to blow your mind, but at the same time, man, they can get it in. 14.2% K rate. They don't strike out enough. A 339 WOBA is good. The ISO is at 167, so they're fairly solid. They're fairly solid at home. I'm in GPP mode. I was thinking I would use Talion versus the Dodgers because people will be using those Dodgers. But see, and it's not going to help you. I don't think. You know what I mean? I don't think it's going to help you. I don't think that so many people are going to play. You know, so many people are going to play. Well, the Pirates seem to be a high contact team. They do. They get the bat on the ball, and that's why. And to go back to that, let's open it up again. We talk about the Pittsburgh Pirates at home versus righties. That's why you see this ISO number is at 167. It's not very high, but the WOBA is decent, 339. So that's going to tell you the type of team they are. They don't hit for a ton of extra bases and a ton of home runs, but they can get on. They can get on base. And they don't strike out a lot. 14.2% strikeout rate. And that's in 345 plate appearances. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot to be on the plate and don't strike out. So I would definitely consider some of the Pittsburgh Pirates bats here, as well as a couple of the Dodgers bats against Talion. Remember, it is a 27% chance of light rain here, and 11-mile-per-hour winds going out toward left field. So keep that into consideration. Next game we got is the Chicago Cubs and the Cincinnati Reds. Yo, we haven't seen the Cubs on the slate in a couple of days, man. Nice, but guess what? As soon as we get them in Great American Small Park, you got 38% chance of moderate rain, and that really sucks. That really sucks. This is a prime game stack. In clear weather, you got Lackey and Homer Bailey. Oh my God, what a tasty matchup. You know what I mean? In terms of I'm looking for a game to stack. What a tasty game this would be. You look at John Lackey here, 8.3. The dude is not awesome. Hasn't had a ton of great starts in a row, but he hasn't really gotten hit up. 19, 19, 13, 22, 14.65. So guys are definitely playable against him. The Cubs always go off the first game in Cincinnati, usually. So we got Homer Bailey at 6.2. The dude sucks. I know he didn't get completely blown up the last time, but it should have happened, man. 13 and 15 in his last 2 starts. Before that, negative 14. We called that against St. Louis. 17 against Pittsburgh. Negative 3 against my Yankees. I definitely see the Cubs getting to him in this spot if the game does play, with a 38% chance of moderate rain and a 71 dew point. Yo, please be on the lookout for this game, man. This could be a rough one to start. This could be a home run derby, bro. It really could. Next game we got is going to be the Boston Red Sox and the Cleveland Indians. Game 2 here. Doug Fister, 5.9. Carlos Carrasco, 11.7. I don't love Carrasco. It's funny how I liked Clevenger against Boston, but I don't like Carrasco against Boston. It's funny. Funny. 27.65 in his last start against Minnesota. 39 against Tampa here. Let's take a look at the last time against Boston. Negative 9.65. They hit him up. They really did. And for that fact, man, I can't get behind Carrasco here in the spot. Not at 11.7. Will I have a ton of exposure to the Boston bats? Probably not. I don't like Doug Fister here at all. We look at what the Cleveland Indians do at the crib versus right-handed pitching. Should be fairly good. Well, 12.6%. Excuse me, 21.5% K rate, 157 ISO, 322 WOBA. That does not really scare me, but the fact remains that Doug Fister is just not very good. You look on the other side, you've got against Carrasco, we're talking about the Boston Red Sox on the road versus righties. They're towards the bottom half of the league. 19.2% K rate, not very high, but a 112 ISO with a 264 WOBA. This could be a low-scoring game, sort of a, I don't want to say a pitcher's duel, but it's a low-scoring game altogether. Don't know how I'm going to feel about this. Remember, we got a 46% chance of moderate rain here. 17-mile-per-hour wind coming back toward the infield, the progressive field. So if this game plays and that wind stands pat, you could get some value in playing Carrasco or Fister. You probably could, because the wind is just blowing so heavily back toward the infield. So next game we got my New York Yankees and the Detroit Tigers. You got Masahiro Tanaka at 9.2, Matt Boyd at 5.5. Let's take a look at what my Yankees do on the road versus left-handed pitching. I think it won't be bad. 23.6% K rate, 152 ISO with a 339 WOBA. Boys played $1 and won 150. My biggest score in a long time. Shout out to the homie Kyle Gill, man. Awesome, bro. Glad to see it, man. Awesome. Hope you had the logo popping too. Let's take a look at the Detroit Tigers and what they do at the crib versus righties. We're going to take a look here. Oh, man. 21.7% K rate, a 146 ISO with a 319 WOBA. That puts Masahiro Tanaka squarely and firmly in play for me at 9.2. Gonna have some exposure there. Yeah. Now the problem is in Comerica Park we do have 13-mile-per-hour wind going out toward left field. There's a 5% chance of light rain. That should not be a big problem. 74 degrees with a 63 dew point. Tanaka's a guy that if his stuff is working, he could be a very solid play. I'm going to have some exposure. Matt Boyd, of course, is a guy that can definitely get hit up. I'm going to have a lot of exposure to the Yankees bats against Matt Boyd. I've got no issue. Let's take a look at Matt Boyd in his last couple of starts. 8.75, 3, 10.3, 19, 23, 12, -2. So he's been decent. He's been decent recently, but just not overwhelmingly good. So Tanaka in his last few starts, 4.8 against Toronto. We kind of saw that. That wasn't a good matchup from the start. The 21 against Detroit, 46 against Tampa Bay, 12 against Seattle, 24 against Boston here. So Tanaka's been fairly decent as well. So I'm going to have some exposure here. Next game we got the Arizona Diamondbacks and the New York Mets, man. We've got Pat Corbin at 9.4. He's priced all the way up. Steven Matz at 5.7. I want to make sure that we still have Steven Matz here, because I think it could be a different guy. It could be some different pitchers here. Let's take a look. Some MLB. K Chancey, what's up, big homie? All right, so let's go. Let's check out this Mets game. Okay, that's right. Patrick Corbin and Tommy Maloney. Yeah, because I think Matz has been placed on the DL. Don't want anything to do with Maloney. Patrick Corbin at 9.4. He's had some decent starts lately. I think the last 3 out of 4 have been decent. Yeah, 34, 31, 22, and -7. Yeah, that 34 against Houston was nuts. And I think Patrick Corbin's going to see a fair amount of ownership. We know, we think that the Mets don't hit as well against lefties, but let's go to the leaderboards, man, and see exactly what's popping. Let's see. At home versus lefties. Let's take a look at what the Mets do. Okay. 26% K rate, 167 ISO with a very low 254 WOBA. That puts Patrick Corbin definitely in play for us. The only problem is he may not get the run support, but what Tommy Maloney sucks, so he could. So you know the logo was on there. Just posted that lineup on the page. My dude. Yeah, yo, Corbin's gonna be in play for me. Corbin's gonna be in play for me. I really wish. Well, and it's good because I think Maloney is a right-hander, and that's gonna give us a reason to play some Peralta, to play some Goldie, to play some Lamb. I like that. Yeah, Patrick Corbin is in play definitely. And remember, Citi Field, man. is more of a pitcher's park, but with 16 mph wind going out towards center field, bro, the ball can carry and get up out of it. We saw a little bit of that last night as well. So 84 degrees, solid. I'm all about it. Next game we got is the Toronto Blue Jays and the Tampa Bay Rays. Chris Rowley 5.4, Chris Archer 12.4. They priced them all the way up for this one, baby. Tropicana Field. You know how I felt a long time throughout the season about Chris Archer. I just haven't seen those high upside, 30+ point performances. I'm telling you, in the last 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, he's averaging around 20 DraftKings points, but 26, 16, 21, 15, 22. Man, I need more than that. And you look at what the Toronto Blue Jays do on the road versus right-handed pitching, and they're not bad, bro. They're not bad. 23.4% K rate, 169 ISO, and a 304 WOBA. I'm saying I could. I haven't played Archer in a long time. You haven't regretted it. Exactly. He's not been lighting it up, man. He has not been lighting it up. 12.4, big price on him. They're a heavy favorite right now. You got Chris Rowley at 5.4, who I think had a decent start out last time. 7.8 before that. He was only at 4.7 against Pittsburgh, and he had 16.4. So that was decent. Do I want to play him against Tampa Bay bats? Probably not. We look at what the Tampa Bay bats do at home against right-handed pitching. Let's take a look. Last in the league, man. 29.4% K rate. Only a 108 ISO and a 258 WOBA. Oh my God, man. Oh man. That's oh man. Yeah, I don't like Tampa Bay bats here, and I don't think he's gonna get a ton of the run support from them. So I don't know about Archer. I'm not gonna That's too much. I can't play Archer here. Next game we got is the Seattle Mariners and the Atlanta Braves. You got Marco Gonzalez at 5.4, Lucas Sims at 4.9. This game is a 10.5 run total. There's a 7% chance of light rain. We've got 6 mph wind going out towards center field. It's a 54% humidity with an 87-degree temperature. Let's take a look at what the Atlanta Braves have been doing at the crib versus left-handed pitching. Remember, we've got Matt Kemp back, so this could change some. All right, only a 9.1% K rate, 118 ISO, 333 WOBA. Yo, Homer Bailey on the mound, boys, and Nolasco. Two guys who give up all the bombs. Yeah, I can dig it. I'm gonna like a couple of Braves bats, a couple of righties, definitely. Let's take a look at Lucas Sims. He's priced at 4.9, very cheap, very cheap. 10.45 against Colorado, 2.2, 6.1, 9.3. Just don't love him in this spot. Not against the Mariners here. These bats are going to start to wake up. You look at Yonder Alonso, had a very solid game yesterday. Robinson Cano, Kyle Seager. Hopefully, they'll get Nelson Cruz back, and that could definitely help him out a lot too. Marco Gonzalez, I think he had a good one in his last start. No, he didn't. That was the other kid. That was Miguel Gonzalez. Negative 1.6 against Baltimore. Yo, these pitchers fucking suck. Both these pitchers are horrible. They're trash. You can play any bat you want. We'll play the bats in this spot. These pitchers suck. Next game we got is the Minnesota Twins and the Chicago White Sox. It seems like the Twins and the White Sox have been playing each other forever. And we've got 15 mph wind going out toward right field in U.S. Cellular. Kyle Gibson at 6K. Lucas Giolito at 6.1. I want to check DKs to make sure these are the correct pitchers that we have here. Yes. At 15 miles, yo, this is another spot, man. With 15 mph wind and 10.5 run total, you can pretty much play wherever you want in terms of the bats. I don't want the Giolito. I don't want Kyle Gibson either. You can do whatever you want to do in this spot, man. And we're gonna chop this up some more inside the line drive. Now we do have a couple of the heavy hitters on the slate. The Washington Nationals and the Houston Astros here. 92 degrees, 69 dew point, 47% humidity. Really solid spot here. Tanner Roark, 6.6. Charlie Morton at 8.9. Right now, it's a 9-run total. I think this could be a game stack situation. We have seen some solid pitching performances recently from Charlie Morton. We have 30 last time out against Arizona. Of course, Arizona was on the road. They suck on the road. You've got, of course, the Texas Rangers. He put up 13, 18 against Toronto, 20 against Tampa, 34 against Philadelphia. But, is this a team that you want to attack? Like, do I want to attack the Nats against right-handers. And you look at what they do, the Nationals that is, on the road versus right-handed pitching. And let's take a look. Wait a minute. Okay. So in the last 30 days, it looks like Morton's going to be in play. Over the last 30 days, we're looking at them 282 plate appearances, okay, for the Nats. They're giving up a 23% K rate, very high. 107 ISO with a 260 WOBA. That's going to put Charlie Morton in play for me, man. At 8.9, that's going to put him in play for me. Like, you look at this already, it's shaping up. Yo, you go Tanaka Morton, you can still pretty much get the bats you like. Tanner Rourke, 6.6, very solid price for him. But do I want to play? Yeah, no Bryce Harper, yes. Do I want to play a pitcher against the Houston Astros? No, I don't. I just check, please. He said no. He said Charlie Morton, 8.9. Bryce Harper, no show. Check, please. Give me some Charlie Morton. I can dig that. Makes perfect sense. Next game we got is the Colorado Rockies and the Kansas City Royals. And the game is in Kauffman Stadium, not in Coarse, so we don't have to worry about the panic that should ensue. Let's take a look at what the Rockies do on the road versus left-handed pitching. And I'm sure, yes, 27.8% K rate, 145 ISO, 281 WOBA. I think this is one of the spots where we see a dominating performance from the Kansas City Royals here at Kauffman Stadium. I like Danny Duffy at 7.6 against the Rockies bats. I just do. I like them. They're a different team away from Coarse, bro. A completely different team away from Coarse. I'm going to have limited exposure to Danny Duffy here. I like him. I love some of the Royals bats against John Gray. We take a look at what the Royals do at the crib versus right-handed pitching. And it's a 17.9% K rate, 177 ISO, a 327 WOBA. Very good. I've got no issue there. Not particularly in love with I'm not particularly in love with John Gray at all. And see, the beautiful thing about this is people see the Rockies and just automatically think Coarse, I can't play a pitcher. Even when they're not in Coarse, motherfuckers do not like to play. Even when the Rockies are not in Coarse, people do not like to play pitchers against the Rockies because all they see is like, oh my God, Rockies, Coarse, oh, home runs everywhere, and they just totally lose their minds. And you can definitely play pitchers against the Rockies away from Coarse Field, definitely. So I think Danny Duffy is going to be a guy that I'm going to take a look at a little bit closer. I like the fact you get that 9-mile-per-hour wind coming toward the infield. That's good. I can work with that. Next game we got is the San Diego Padres and the St. Louis Cardinals. This game is in Busch Stadium, where home runs, this is a game where like 396-foot home runs go to die in center field, bro. Like, it is tough to hit a ball off this bitch, man. You got 11-mile-per-hour wind going out toward right field. Clayton Richard at 7.1. Lance Lynn at 7.4. I want to look at Clayton Richard because he is kind of interesting. 38.85 in his last start against Philly, of course, but 9.1 against the Dodgers, 19.3 against Pittsburgh, 10.1 against Pittsburgh, 15.6 against the Mets, -15 in Colorado. So he's had some tough starts against some pretty good offenses. St. Louis Cardinals at the crib versus righties. Let's take a look at what they've been able to do, and it's not been impressive, bro. 362 plate appearances. I'm talking a 22.9% K rate, only a 158 ISO. Now that 360 WOBA does give me cause for concern. It does give me cause for pause, and I like the fact that you're going to see a lot of lefty-righty matchups against Clayton Richard here. I think you can play some of the St. Louis bats. I do not like Clayton Richard here in this spot. Lance Lynn, 7.4. We're going to take a look at what the San Diego Padres do on the road versus right-handed pitching. I'm sure they're going to be up toward the top half of the league. Yes, 25% K rate, 201 ISO, and a 308 WOBA. Now, I'm going to show you something here, okay? You see how high the K rate is. You see how, close toward the median the WOBA is at 308. It's not an overwhelmingly good WOBA. The K rate is high, but the ISO is high. So what this means is either you can play Lance Lynn, or you can play either I want you to play Lance Lynn, or I want you to play San Diego bats. Word. One of this is not a game to like stay away from. This is not a game to stay away from. I want you to get some exposure here. Either I want you to play some San Diego bats or play Lance Lynn. One of those two items are going to be great today. One of those two items are going to be really nice. Either the St. Louis bats, either the St. Louis pitcher is going to be dope, or the San Diego bats are going to be really nice. I think you should get exposure to either one of those entities, right? Because that's what the numbers say. The numbers say the San Diego Padres on the road versus righties strike out a ton or hit home runs. You see what I'm saying? So, Lance Lynn is a guy I'm gonna highlight him because we're gonna be taking a closer look at him at 5 o'clock later on today in a line drive at 5. And also keep in mind some of the San Diego Padres bats. The next game we got is gonna be the Texas Rangers and the Los Angeles Angels. And don't forget, man, in Busch Stadium, that is a very, very solid place for pitchers to pitch. Very solid place. And Lynn's gonna be at home. Matter of fact, while we're here, let's take a look at some of the home road splits. See how that's been going for him. Okay. Home 8, home 14, home 20, away 19, away 19, home 21, home 13, away 22, home -1, home 20. So his best start of the year was at home. His best start of the year was it was away against the Dodgers, 33. But he's been decent lately. I think he's definitely playable. I kind of like Lynn here. Next game we got is the Texas Rangers and the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Do we have Tyson Ross again? Fuck yeah, dog. Hell yeah. Oh yes, give me some of that. Give me some of that. So we got Tyson Ross, Ricky Nolasco, two cats that don't mind hanging up the long ball. Angel Stadium, very tough place to hit jacks out of, man. Unless you got that 450 power, which we have a lot of in this game, from Mike Trout to Pujols to Beltre to Massara, Napoli, Odor. All these cats have a ton. All these cats have a ton of power, man. So don't let the fact that they be playing in this major pitchers park, like this huge pitcher park, don't let that shake you away from rostering some power here, especially some of the lefty power. When you look at the Texas Rangers here, especially you look at cats like Elvis Andrus and Beltre, those cats can hit too. So I've got no issue playing cats here. 9.5 run total, 75 degrees. Wish it was a little bit hotter, but it's all good. 61 dew point. It's gonna be a solid one. I like bats on both sides, definitely. Next game we got is the Milwaukee Brewers and the San Francisco Giants. Jeff Samardzija 8.6. He kind of jumps off to me as a play that I might like. Just jumps off. Consistently floor level in his last 4 starts. 16, 13, 13, 21. He's right around the floor. Did have that 30-point outburst against Pittsburgh that kind of snapped the streak of a really subpar game. But I kind of like him here, man. And I'm going to show you why. Because if we look at what the Milwaukee Brewers do on the road versus right-handed pitching, this can give you a little bit of cause for the pause, man. 26.1% K rate, 193 ISO, 324 WOBA. But what you're gonna get with this is a very similar situation to what we talked about the other day. This is another one. Excuse me, a few minutes ago. This is kind of like the Lance Lynn game. This is kind of like the Lance Lynn spot, where if you're not gonna play shark, bro, if you're not gonna play shark, that means you have to be playing some Milwaukee bats. That's just how good of a spot he is in, and he won't necessarily be the chalk because he plays in the later games. So, well, that's not the same for pitchers as it is for batters, because you already know who's pitching. So it's not the same for pitchers as it is for batters. So I could be mistaken about that, but 26.1% K rate, that's nice. That's nice. That's nice. They strike out a ton on the road versus righties. Let's see if we have a pitcher pulled up for Milwaukee here. Jimmy Nelson. Ooh. Wait a minute. Oh man. I like Jimmy Nelson. Well, I've liked him all year long. Jimmy Nelson has been like the sweatshop darling. Let's take a look, man. The last few games for Jimmy Nelson. He did have that -10 against Cincinnati. Got beat up pretty bad. 16.9 against Pittsburgh. 28 against Tampa. That 23 against St. Louis. 28, 9, 26, 15, 32. And we thought something was wrong with him. We thought he might have been injured or something. Yeah, he's priced up, bro. 12. Oof. He's priced up. 11K. That's priced up right there. So it's gonna be interesting, man. 7.5 is the run total here. But I don't think you can go wrong with pitching on either side. But I would more so trust the Samardzija here at almost 3K cheaper. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna highlight the shark here, and Jimmy Nelson's gonna be on my radar definitely. So let's go ahead and take a look again over some of the pictures that we liked, and we shall reconvene. Let me hit Jimmy Nelson too. We shall reconvene at 5 o'clock, man. Hop into the line drive at 5. So we got Nelson, Corbin, Tanaka, Morton, Samardzija, Danny Duffy, Lance Lynn will be the cheapest guy that we've been looking at. So again, no Archer, no Carrasco for me. Very, very light Jimmy Nelson here. We've got Corbin, Tanaka, Morton, Jeff Samardzija, and Danny Duffy and Lance Lynn. Yo, who is the pitchers that we have for the Baltimore game? Let's go back over that. Okay, you got Ubaldo Jimenez. You said Corbin and Bundy. You got Ubaldo Jimenez and Blackburn is the Oakland Baltimore pitcher. So, yo, it can be a really solid slate, man. I'm ready to roll, man. So, yo, if you're on FanDuel, keep it 250, bro. If you're on DraftKings, keep it 200. You're rocking with the best, so you know we always keeping it 300. If you want to get with me and run with me on a game or two on Madden 18, be it PS4 or Xbox One, hit me up. I think I'm gonna drop my gamer tags in the comments so we can get it in. So, yo, much love to y'all. Yo, check me out inside the line drive at 5. That's where we're going to be breaking down the totality of the slate and building our lines with the rosters. Yo, if you want to be a part of that, go to the website, www.dfssweatshop.com. Much love and appreciation to all of y'all. Peace and hair grease. Y'all hold it down. Let's keep it 300. We out. Peace.